Welcome back to some more MXGP 2. There were quite a few people asking to see different bikes, and at the time I didn't have enough credits to buy those bikes, but I've been grinding out the game, beast moding the game, trying to rack up enough money, enough credits to purchase all that. And I have all the bikes purchased, bought, and most of them are fully upgraded to the best they can be, except for the Suzuki and the TM. I didn't have enough money to fully upgrade them, and it was just going to take forever. It just wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. Nothing against the Suzuki or the TM. I just didn't have enough money to fully upgrade them. So let's go check them out. And while I was doing this, I realized that not all bikes are created equal. We used the Honda quite a bit for the first few videos, so I don't need to show that one. And the Kawasaki, I think I'm going to use for the career, so we won't use that one as well. But I want to show the KTM, the Suzuki, the TM, the Yamaha, and the Husqvarna. I'm going to show some gameplay with those. But let's start here. The Honda is fully upgraded with the best aftermarket parts you can get. And it's 8.8, 9.2, 8.4, and 10 with the stats. So that's interesting. The Kawasaki is even better, in the same position as the Honda, but it's at 9.2, 8.8, 9.6, and 9.2. Much better, actually. Now, let's skip over. Here, this isn't fair, because the Suzuki and the TM aren't upgraded. The only thing that it has is the FMF exhaust. That's it. So, acceleration and speed are 8.8. Everything else is stock, but that's 7.2 and 7.4. But we can compare it to the TM, which is in the same boat as the Suzuki. It just has the exhaust on it, which is very similar, 8.4 and 8.8. But the braking and handling are 6.6 and 6.2. A small amount less than the Suzuki. So interesting there. And where do we want to go? Let's go to the Husky. Interesting here. Fully upgraded, 9.6, 8.8, 9.2, 8.8. Not bad, but I don't think that's as good as the Kawasaki. Then we'll go to the Yamaha, which I believe is the second best bike in the game. 9.6, 9.2, 9.6, 9.2. Second best bike statistically in the game. And we'll go all the way to number 1. And you've got 10, 9.6, 10, 9.2. I think this is kind of standout, hands down, the best performing bike in the game. Just statistically it is. So I find that interesting that not all the bikes can be as good as... They're not all equal. You know, a lot of games make all the bikes equal. They just have different skins on them. Like you might have the Honda or the Yamaha or the Kawasaki, KTM. But they're all exactly essentially the same. Like with Supercross. This game, it's not so much. It's not just cosmetic. They actually perform differently. And not only is the KTM perform the best, but you can... You know, the handling on the Honda, so it kind of depends on what you want. The handling and the braking on the Honda are better, but I don't think the acceleration and speed are close enough to like the KTM to make it equivalent. I think the KTM still has a clear advantage over the Honda. Maybe not so much over something... Let's see, this was 10s on acceleration and speed, and 9.6, 9.2. So let's compare that to Yamaha, see where we're at. 9.6, 9.6. See, 9.2, 9.2. So even the braking power and the handling's the same, but the braking power is not as good, and the acceleration and speed aren't as good. So the KTM is better in the first 3 categories, and the exact same in handling. So I think if you want to use the best bike in the game, it's the KTM. I think it's hands down the best. But what I want to do is go find a track, maybe do like time attack or something, and do 1 lap with the KTM, 1 with the Suzuki, TM, Yamaha, and the Husky. And the Honda we already used quite a bit, and the Kawasaki I plan on using for the career. Even though it's not the best bike, I still want to use it for the career. So we'll go find a track and we'll do some test riding with these bikes. Okay, so we broke out the TM. Again, it's not fully upgraded. It has the exhaust on it, and that is it. The handling and the braking are completely stock. But so far, it feels better than just a stock bike. Not only the power, but even the handling just feels better than a stock bike. I don't know why, it just does. But I have used some of the fully upgraded bikes, and it's not as good as that for sure. It's definitely not as good as that. But the handling, I mean, we got into that corner, it grabbed nice, and I don't know, it's really not that bad. So, I mean, I don't know, it's hard for me to tell, and I think it's going to be really hard to tell how big of a difference there is between the worst performing bike and the best performing one. Like time attack, I think this might be nice. We'll see what kind of laps we can throw down. I'll try and throw down as close to identical laps as possible, but you know me, I'm kind of not consistent, and just because I throw down a slower lap with a better bike, I mean, I could throw down the fastest lap with this bike, and that doesn't mean a whole lot. That really doesn't mean a whole lot. That means that I messed up really bad on my laps with the better ones, and that's not the main focus here. The main focus is just to show you the different bikes. Like there, it took us forever to turn that corner, and here it looks like we're gonna miss the inside. Well, we didn't miss it, but we didn't get through that corner very well. So there we shaved off or gave up a few tenths of a second, and so on and so forth. But I mean, it's really good. It's really not that bad. I'm okay with this bike, even not being fully upgraded. I think if you finish putting on the aftermarket parts, I think it will be a halfway decent bike. But it looks like we're gonna turn a 141, so not bad. Switching over to the RMZ 450, I thought this would be a good one to use next, just because it's very similar to the TM in the fact that, well, the stats are pretty close anyway, stock, I think, but just because they both only have the FMF exhaust on them. Everything else is stock. Now, the handling and the braking are statistically better on the Suzuki than they are on the TM. So we'll see if we can notice a difference, but right now, I honestly don't notice any difference. It feels exactly the same as the TM. I mean, it really does feel exactly like the TM did. Now, we threw down a 141 with the TM, but again, that's not fair. Just because we throw a faster lap or a slower lap with this bike, it doesn't mean that it's better, because you saw how we turned that one corner was mighty awful slow, and I'm not really scrubbing too much, and we're over jumping the heck out of that and flat landing, and I'm just not trying to hit the best lines. Like I said, the main focus is just the bike and how it feels. So we'll see, but I expect that the 141 will not be our fast lap. I'm sure that we'll turn a faster one than that. You know, the more I'm using this, it does feel slightly better. It feels, power-wise, it feels exactly the same. Even if it's better or worse, it feels exactly the same. Handling-wise, I feel like it's grabbing better. And it feels slightly lighter, just slightly. Not a lot, and I'm really having to pay attention to try and notice it, but it definitely feels lighter, I think. Got into this section nice. Yeah, it looks like we're going to turn a faster lap here. Oh, it looks like we're going to turn a much faster lap here. 139. Okay, so we're switching over to the Husky, the 450, and this bad boy's fully upgraded with, I believe, the best parts, I think. So we'll see how that goes. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned it already. I have really bad memory. But I'm using the exact same settings for all the bikes. Everything gets the exact same settings. I think I'm using like medium transmission, and then everything else is basically just standard default right in the middle. Just kind of wanted to keep it even. So far, I'm not really noticing any difference. As far as just flat out power, I think it's very, very similar to the Suzuki and the TM, because I think they're around 8.8 or so, and I think that's what this one is. Maybe a hair better, but not significantly. The handling and the braking was much better, but this isn't the best track for that because, well, I feel like we kind of overjumped that more so than with the other two bikes. But this isn't the best track to do that. It's a really simple, fairly flat, easy track. If you were going to do that, I would take it somewhere more complicated, more technical. But and just because we don't turn the fastest lap doesn't mean this bike isn't better. It's just my riding's super like right there was a huge mistake. That probably shaved a couple tenths of a second off. Plus, as I'm talking, I'm not like completely engaged and focused in what I'm doing. So it's hard to say which one would be faster, but we'll see, just for the sake of curiosity, what our lap time is going to be with this thing. I think, what was the last one? The Suzuki turned to 139. So let's see if we can beat that. Looks like it's almost exactly the same. Okay, so we're switching over to the YZ450, and this is where it could get a little interesting, and it gets my curiosity going. This and the KTM are statistically, again, two of the better performing bikes, so I'm curious if they're going to do better on this track or worse on this track than everything else. It's not the best track to try and figure out which is better, because it's a fairly easy track. There's no up and down, not a lot of crazy corners. It's not the best track to figure all that out on, but nonetheless, it's still a track, and a better overall bike should perform better. Now, that doesn't mean that the player, being me, can actually do that. And so this whole test is kind of worthless because my laps can be super inconsistent. But we're going to try it anyways. Throw a big fat whip in flatland and see if we can turn a faster lap time. Now, what I think is really cool is that they stuck with the whole, we're going to put different sounds on the Yamaha than everything else from the first game. And so I really like that. I hope they update the sounds eventually, but for right now, this is what we got, so I'm not going to complain too hard. But this bike definitely feels better. It feels lighter, even though we're going to, man, we almost missed this corner. It feels lighter. It feels a hair faster, not like significantly faster, but faster. Just barely noticeable. I'm curious, it'd be really awesome if you could quad here with this bike. You know what? I really think we're gonna well, maybe not. I was gonna say I really think we can quad with the KTM because that's even faster than this bike is. But let's see, 30, wow, yeah, 37. 37. Alright, so here we go. We switched to the KTM 450. This is what is supposed to be the best bike in the game, and let's see if we can get a halfway it feels faster already. It feels noticeably faster than everything else. But let's see if we can get a decent lap time in. I'm really hoping it's a decent one because if it's not decent, it won't give me a good idea of if it's significantly better or not. It should be a little bit better than the Yamaha. I don't know if a lot, but a little bit. We kind of took that corner a little iffy, but maybe that's okay because we did hit a bad spot with the Yamaha and still was able to turn a much faster lap time. 2 seconds almost, or 1.5 seconds than anything else, so let's see what we can do. But I do notice the just flat out power right away. It's something I noticed right away. The handling, yeah, it feels similar to everything else. Of course it should because it's exactly the same as the Yamaha, I think, as far as handling characteristics. So let's see what we can do as far as turning a halfway quick lap time here. I mean, it's quite a bit faster than everything else, so it should turn. Oh, plus we got around that corner really nice. If we can hook this inside yet, we're golden. Which we got around that corner really awesome. Throw a nice fat whip. I wonder if we can quad this. That'd be sick, wouldn't it? You know, I don't think you can quad that. I think that's out of the question. Maybe, but doubtful. What are we going to turn? 33, 34, 35, 36. So definitely faster. Definitely faster. Okay, so there you go. That's the 5 bikes. I didn't use the Honda because we had been using it already. And I didn't use the Kawasaki because I want to use that for the career. So you'll see plenty of the Kawasaki. It would have been nice to throw them all together and see what they could throw down for lap times. But again, my tests aren't good because I'm super inconsistent. I'm not that kind of guy that can just throw an exact perfect lap every single time. I make way too many mistakes. I didn't make any huge mistakes, and that's kind of why I chose that track, because it's really easy. And it's hard to make too many mistakes there, but yet it's too easy to where I don't think you could feel the advantages of some of the better performing bikes because that track is so easy. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Take it for what it is, but I showed you that in the game at least, the KTM is the best bike. Statistically, it is across the board the best bike, or at least exactly the same. The Yamaha is also really good. I think the Kawi was pretty good. Everything's good, and I think some of them are stronger in certain areas than other ones. But hands down, I think the KTM's the best. So I wanted to show you that because I thought that was really interesting. Plus, I know there's some people wanting to see it. I know we only did 1 lap, which isn't much, but I promise I'll use these bikes more often. But I want to start the career, and I just wanted to get this video out because I thought it was really interesting that they're not all the same. Because, you know, most games, they're like all exactly the same. There really isn't any difference. This game's not the case, and you saw that they do perform definitely better. So thank you for the support on MXGP. For sure, the next video, because tons of people are asking, for sure the next video, we will start the career. Definitely. And I'm going to use the Kawasaki, the KX450. Even though it's not the best performing bike, I want to do that because there was quite a few people asking for the Kawasaki. So I kind of want to use something different, so we'll stick with that. But thank you for the support on this series. You guys and girls are absolutely amazing, as always. And until the next video, take it easy.